Welcome into a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here from the UDL. Katie back in studio this morning, feeling a little bit better, but has spread the disease to Jack, so he'll be out.
Two ships passing
on
in the
this
night.
on this Friday.
Jack ate after me, so he asked for it.
Just a little casualty of house sitting.
Yeah,
that's all.
Sloppy seconds.
That's right.
These leftovers look nice.
How we feeling?
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
a little shady.
Maybe a little bit. I'm good.
It's the Hollywood diet, dude. What are you talking about?
There's 24-hour
something,
bugs,
you purge,
That's
you purge
Lloyd's
yourself.
first thought. Dropping a few lbs.
You vain son of a bitch.
He is. You are so
He
many.
is.
It's summertime, dude. You can't be walking around with a paunch.
Summer body.
Coming up on today's Jordy Culotta Show, looking forward to it. We will talk to Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball will be here 8:30 this morning. Lots to talk to Kendall about, including a couple of transfers in for LSU over the past 48 hours. Also talk to him about Jacob Berry and the introduction of Jason Kelly, which will go down today as the new pitching coach for LSU. We'll talk to him about those additions coming up at 8:15 this morning. So if you're looking for some baseball discussion, we'll talk to Kendall Rogers at 8:15 this morning. 8:30, Nathan Velasquez will be back at his regular spot at 8:30 as we'll be talking Hollywood with Nate here on this Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. 8 a.m. this morning, Jacoby Mathews, who some consider to be the #1 overall player in the state of Louisiana. In fact, a lot of the people that you talk to around recruiting who cover it say that Mathews is probably the best player in the class. And you got to think about some of the players that are coming through Louisiana this recruiting cycle. Guys like Walker Howard, a 5-star quarterback that was just tabbed the #3 overall quarterback at the Elite 11 shootout over in California this past weekend, is in the class. Will Campbell, 5-star tackle who's had a tremendous summer and really blown up with his 5-star status, has had a great recruiting time here. Quincy Wiggins in Baton Rouge at Madison Prep. Think about the explosive summer that he's had with his name flying up recruiting charts. Shaz Preston's the best wide receiver in the state. And then they all come back to Jacoby Mathews. When you ask him who is the top player in the state, a lot of people say it's Mathews out of Ponchatoula. So really looking forward to catching up with the 5-star safety. He's also playing quarterback down there for the Greenies. So we will talk to him about his dual role here in his senior season, and then kind of some of the outlook on how recruiting finishes up. LSU was able to pick up another commitment in the last 24 hours. So the LSU football recruiting staff stays hot on the trail as Demario Tolan, a 4-star linebacker out of Orlando, pledged his commitment to Coach Baker, the LSU linebackers coach, Durante Jones, the defensive coordinator, Ed Ogeron, and the crew 24 hours ago. So more for LSU as they get another pledge for the class of 2022. We'll tell you all about it coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Good Friday morning to you. Remember, every day we are brought to you by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. That is Lee Carney and Nick Richard and the entire crew over there. They're in Laplace, Louisiana. If you're looking for a brand new car, used car lots right here in Baton Rouge on Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest. You can stop in and see them there. Our water daily.
Well, you're saying if they got a burner car for your boy, that'd be great. I'll take the junkyard cat, whatever you got.
Jordy Culotta Show will be in touch with the Go Chevrolet crew. We've got a man down.
We have so many car problems here. And
he
then we
Ubered in.
Go.
Lloyd Ubered in to the UDL this morning, had to get past the moat, had to get past the guards, had to go through the open field. I'm sure the Uber driver was probably like, what are you doing, bro? Where are we?
She's dead.
Okay, good.
Casualty of war.
Yeah, right. We don't have any secrets here, so we're just going to kill you.
Here's your tip.
And then, so we'll talk to Jacoby Mathews coming up at 8 a.m. As we said, Go Chevrolet brings us the Jordy Culotta Show every day. Majestic Coffee, DeliciousSips.com is where you can find our coffee that is locally brewed down here in South Louisiana every day. And then True Blue Water gives us our water every morning.
And Go-Mart gives us our snacks.
On the Jordy Culotta Show. Go-Mart getting a little signage here.
Dude, I feel like such a slut over here. I'm hoarding myself out.
You should.
And I have to stay very much centered. I can't move left. I can't move right. But I'm happy to do it for the snacks.
All of this brown real estate, all of this wood paneling that you see is for sale here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Some of the spots are are starting to clear up, as you see an addition here of Abear Specialty Meats to the bottom right under Stingley Jr.'s 24, which we should be getting the 7.
Gonna have to make some room
here in the next couple of weeks, so we'll have the 24/7 combo of Derek Stingley's college numbers here live at the UDL at some point before football season. Looking forward to that. But it is going to be a pretty cool Friday show here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Always appreciate your interaction. As Katie urged you yesterday at the beginning of the show, please like, share, comment, and get this thing moving here.
Subscribe
on a Friday morning. Tell a friend what we got going on. As we appreciate that as always.
Hit that thumbs up button if you're already on it. It's real easy to do.
Couple of things happening last night. What you got?
Real quick, would there be a more valuable collection in LSU history if you had all of the transitions from like their previous number 2-7? Like if you had Tyrann Mathieu 14-7, Jamar Chase 1-7, Stingley 24-7. I feel like that would be a pretty good piece of.
Yeah, it's good memorabilia.
Yes.
Yeah,
that is good memorabilia. I've always wanted the 14 Mathieu jersey.
I feel like that's elusive.
That is the
if you know,
alpha.
you know. Yes.
That's the one.
I'm here.
Surely we can get that.
We should be able to. Look at that Go March sign. It looks great.
It does look good.
There you go, Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
Popping back there, bro. Stop it and check out the Go Mart over in Natchez, Louisiana when you make it through. Our guy provides us.
Mississippi.
Natchez, Mississippi. Sorry, I am a proud Louisianian, especially after last night when Zaila Avante-Garde, who, if nothing else, has got the best name in spelling bee history.
Yeah.
Very New Orleans. Zaila ran up on the spelling bee last night and just abused the competition. If you've seen Zaila on Twitter, which she's become a phenomenon over the last 24 hours, actually probably over the last 10 hours, she's become a phenomenon after rolling through the spelling bee last night. First African-American winner. First winner from the state of Louisiana. A New Orleanian gets the crown as the spelling bee champ. Does it in typical New Orleans flair. Got great personality.
She dropped a Bill Murray joke
After Bill Murray made the spelling bee because her last word was Mariah. What was it? Muria?
Muria, Murray, and she said, does it have anything to do with maybe a famous comedian that's also an actor? And the guy was stumped. He was like, I don't think I can answer that. He's like, I don't know what to say.
And the guy was like, okay. Wow, Bill Murray made an appearance on the spelling bee.
That's crazy.
Talking about confidence, dude.
I know.
Well, if you've seen her on the basketball floor, you see where it comes from. And Kim Mulkey and I were texting back and forth last night. She's out on the recruiting trail and out on the road recruiting. And she was actually in Louisville last night watching a tournament. And Kramer and the Redbirds were in town and were washed out last night. So she was able to go to dinner and caught a little bit of the spelling bee. Now, she didn't know what she was seeing. She didn't know that she was looking at a New Orleans 7th grader win this thing. She was just sitting in a local Louisville restaurant with her son, catching up on some quality family time. And her phone just started going berserk after the New Orleans native wins the spelling bee. And people are sending her links to her Twitter and her social media. And if you've not seen Zaila's social media, she's a baller. I mean, like a baller. The way that she hoops, she's got 3 Guinness Book of World Records set right now, and they are all around basketball. Juggling basketballs, dribbling basketballs. I forget what the 3rd world record is, but it has something to do with basketball. And the way that she plays is she looks like one of the top hoopers in our state, especially at her age. And I can tell you that Kim Mulkey absolutely knows who she is. We're watching her run through some of her drills on her own social media. And you can see the way that she handles the ball. You can see the confidence that she plays with. And to see her go last night and roll through the spelling bee was really cool to watch. And I didn't watch it live. I just watched the highlights, and I was getting text messages. Jordan and I were out to eat with Jordan and Kelly and I went out to eat last night to celebrate some of little Jay's accomplishments in school. And when we came home, we watched the NBA Finals. We watched Game 2 there, but I was getting text messages and social media hits about what was happening at the spelling bee and how Zaila was just running through the competition. So we want to start there and make sure and congratulate her. We want to thank her for the way that she represented us last night, which had everybody in the room smiling, and you could feel America smiling along with everybody there after her accomplishments last night. But
she's so sweet little voice.
She's got a great, she's
great personality.
She's fantastic, man.
Name, image, and likeness. Can it start too soon?
Oh my gosh, can you
I'm telling you. I mean, they had to have some local companies looking at her saying, how can we align ourselves? I mean, look at this personality. Look at this kid. I mean, just so likable.
Yeah.
And like you said, just very easy to. She's got a great little voice. She's got a cool personality. And it was fun to watch her get the win last night. The national event included 11 finalists who she got to meet, the First Lady, Jill Biden, for the contest, which began at the Walt Disney Resort yesterday, and she was the winner. So congratulations to one of our own Louisianians as Zaila Avante-Garde. What a great name.
It is a great name.
Wins the Scripps National Spelling Bee on Thursday night after her last word was Muria, which I don't even know what that means, Lloyd.
It's a piece of a flower, I believe, or something to do with the construct of a flower. That's what they were describing it as. Well, I know how to spell it now. Murraya. I was a fifth grade spelling bee champion myself, but we only did like the 3 classes, so like prompt sucker spelling bee champ. So watch your back.
Lloyd, good for you.
But turns out the worst skill you can actually have in the days of the internet and iPhones and autocorrect.
Yeah.
So really spelling went by the wayside. I should have focused on math, which never really took with me.
Same. Spelling was my strong suit.
Yeah, so
now who needs it?
Good for me.
Who needs it?
Her basketball, some of you are seeing her basketball skills for the first time on social media, and it is very much a wow factor. I mean, to see the way that she can handle the ball at such a young age. And not only that, the way that it seems like she loves the game. I mean, I fell almost into a little bit of a social media hole last night in just kind of watching some of her highlights and listening to her speak. And she loves basketball. I mean, she absolutely loves the game. Everything that is, as we said, she's the author or owner of 3 Guinness Book of World Records, and all of those center around having a basketball in her hand. It's juggling and dribbling basketballs. She's dribbling the most. She dribbles 6 basketballs at one time.
Yeah, I mean, she has the handle.
When you see it visually, when you see that, like when you see it actually happening, it looks nearly impossible. It looks fake because of the amount of basketballs that are bouncing around her and that she's controlling all of them.
It's amazing. I
mean, the juggling video looks like it's animated. I mean, it looks like it's a cartoon. But, I mean, she has got like 4 basketballs moving in the air, and she's dribbling and it's
like a globetrotter.
It's unbelievable.
How many do you think y'all can juggle?
1.
2. I mean, maybe.
Does that make you want to get little Jay into juggling? I feel like it's so good for hand-eye coordination. Like, you need to get him on this training regimen.
I would feel to get that skill set, she's been doing this for like 6 or 7 years.
Well, she can't. She's only 10.
That's
she's
what I'm
11.
saying, but
she's
I mean, 14. Like,
14.
Look at the way that she is able to handle these basketballs.
Yeah.
Well, you could start now. You started now.
But yeah, I mean, her hand-eye coordination has got to be something like a professional athlete.
And she knows she knows the rules. She knows like how to gather, step, travel. Like she knows all the things that she's doing on the basketball court, and she understands like the hand-eye coordination is unreal.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
14.
Yeah.
Really I mean, like they have shots of her like dribbling on a bicycle.
We're in so much trouble. Like this generation that's coming up is just gonna obliterate everything that it records, things, education. We're dead.
So shout out to Zaila and her accomplishment and winning last night the National Spelling Bee. What a cool accomplishment for a youngster heading into 8th grade. For her final year of junior high.
Whoa!
She's got a hell of a resume, man. I mean,
what a flex to be able to walk into when you walk into the high school halls. You're like, I don't know, it's spelling bee champ. You think she's a nerd? It's like, I'll take you to the basketball court right now.
Oh, she's flexing on everybody, from the teachers to the students.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like, you want me to teach the class?
Yeah, spelling in here.
Here's
on
a
the
spelling teacher. Take a break. Go smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, we're good in here.
So that's where we wanted to start here on Friday, wishing her congratulations and wishing her very much a what seems like is probably going to be a cool little victory ride here before she gets back to New Orleans. We'll try to track her down at some point and see what her life has turned into after all of the attention. But just know that LSU women's basketball coach does know who Zaila Avante-Garde is. She was getting blown up on text last night about the accomplishment of the young New Orleanian and is very much is on top of how good of a basketball player she is nearly 4 years outside of the cycle in which she would be recruited. So congratulations to Zaila for last night, and way to represent, man. It was proud watching her, because if you have any familiarity with New Orleans, if you have any feeling around the city, you knew as soon as she started to speak that she was from that part of the country. I mean, she's got that drawl, she's got that personality. Like you said, she was very loose and making jokes even later into the championship round.
That was the last word.
It was the last word. It was almost like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The first guy that ever won it, when he called his dad and was like, "Dad, I know the answer. I just wanted to call and let you know that we're about to be millionaires."
biggest game show flex of all time.
Gotta be. But Zaila's pushing it for biggest flex.
I think that the biggest thing that I take away from it is whenever you see somebody from Louisiana on TV, you can almost automatically tell.
Yeah.
Like the ease in which they don't know that the camera's around. Like when we had Moon on from Baylor, now the LSU transfer. Like you could tell when she came on the show that she was automatically at ease with being on radio or talking to people. And it's just very refreshing. Or any of the high school athletes that we've had on, like Shaz, they're just, it's like their feet are kicked up and they're talking on the phone. Like they don't see it as a moment to be nervous. It's like a chance to talk to somebody. It's like, hey, how you doing? Like, oh, man, great. How you doing?
Yeah.
It's just very much the culture.
Yeah, it is.
If you missed yesterday's show, go back and check it out. Great conversation with Derek Stingley Sr., talking about name, image, and likeness, talking about the success that Junior has had here early on in the first 10 days of NIL. And then we talked about the deal that Spencer Rattler had struck with Lee Steinberg's marketing agency over the last 48 hours. Now, Spencer Rattler is in the discussion as potentially the #1 pick in next year's draft. He is the Oklahoma quarterback. Sam Howell from North Carolina is in that discussion. Kayvon Thibodeau up at Oregon is in that discussion, and Derek Stingley Jr. Is in that discussion. In fact, Pro Football Focus just put out their top 50 football players going into the season, and Sting checks in at at number 2, behind Spencer Rattler, who is the #1 ranked overall player. Elias Ricks is in the top 10. Mike Jones made the list somehow, and Lloyd and I were scratching our head wondering how Keishawn Butte was left off that list, but that's neither here nor there.
Number
Stingley,
38, right? Mike Jones.
Yeah, Mike Jones was 38th.
Do you think that Butte was left off just because of the inconsistencies throughout the year? Like he really popped at the end of the year, and by popped, I mean popped, but it wasn't like a consistent, oh my God, this is a #1 wide receiver. I mean, if you're from here, you noticed it like throughout the year, but I think maybe just like the last 2 games, it was, I mean, I think he's worthy of it. I mean, top 50. He's definitely worthy. Like he's worthy of like top 20, top 15, top 10.
There's no way I would buy that there are 50 better college football players than Keishawn Butte.
There's no way.
There's no way.
Like I don't know if they're basing it off of last year's performance or if they're basing it off of what they're going to do in the upcoming year.
Right. And I guess there is ways of evaluating and ways of placing that, but still, any way you evaluate Keishawn Butte, there's no way you're going to sell me that there's 50 better football players in college than him.
The article said they evaluate every player on every play of each season. That's how they're pulling these numbers.
I mean, what are we looking at then?
You know what I mean? You fell asleep at the wheel.
I mean, did you guys throw the tape away on the last 2 games for LSU? So before we get there on Pro Football Focus's stuff, Stingley checks in at 2. He's number 2 on the list. And that is, I mean, we all know the feeling around Sting this season. This is his money year. Everybody's been talking about him leading up to this season. Potentially, he's going to be a top 3 pick. He may push and be in the discussion for the first time ever as a defensive back, or the first time ever in a long time, that a DB would be taken #1 overall. It's improbable at this point, but it's a possibility. But yesterday, Stingley Sr. Was talking about some of the stuff that's happening, obviously, alongside NIL. in name, image, and likeness, as Derek has inked a couple of the major deals within college football here early on. And I was asking him about the possibility or how was Spencer Rattler able to ink with a sports agent. I mean, Lee Steinberg is recognized as one of the top sports agents in the world, and this be legal under these guidelines. And I know that the college football rules and regulations are shifting because of NIL, but still very blatant to sign with an agency. I thought Rattler earlier this week in probably pressing the rules. Stingley Sr. addressed that yesterday and explained how that was happening. And then about 4 hours later, the Stingleys sign a deal with a major marketing agent that made news yesterday as he signed with the Ballingy Group, which is their a NFLPA certified agency. Stan Wiltz is an agent within that organization who represents a handful of former LSU players. Russell Gage is on his client list, Patrick Queen, Darrell Williams, a Louisiana native, and Travis Etienne is on his client list. And now this is a marketing agency who has certified agents in the building. They're only going to be dealing with Stingley through this contract, through the marketing department of the agency. But a lot like we talked about yesterday with Rattler, doesn't this give Wiltz and the Ballingy Group a very much of a head start in beginning the recruitment of Derek Stingley Jr.? I mean, who doesn't want a top 3 pick, right? I mean, that changes the trajectory of your business. That changes the trajectory of your reputation within the sports agency world if you're able to sign and ink a top 3 player in the draft. And how big of an advantage of it is it for Wiltz and his crew to start beginning the relationship process 2 months before his junior year starts?
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, I would say starting with LSU athletes in general, just starting with Russell Gage Jr., with Darrell Williams, who obviously weren't the athletes coming into the draft that a Derek Stingley Jr. is. Like, they weren't as highly touted, but they're pros. But to get in the door with LSU and then have them kind of get the ball rolling on, hey, the Ballingy Group is actually helping me out a good bit. Like, I'll talk to Sting, I'll talk to these other guys that are higher picks. Like, that's a great way to get the ball rolling and get your foot in the door with LSU. Absolutely.
And not only that, the credibility that you get when Stingley goes back to the locker room and tells Elias Ricks, or he tells one of these up-and-coming players, Keyshawn Butte, who is going to be a major commodity.
Top 50 player, maybe.
Within name, image, and likeness. Hey, these guys are taking care of me. You know, I mean, I trust them. I've worked with them, and they've been great for me. I mean, that's as good of an advertising, that's as good as marketing as you can find. In fact, we've dabbled here early on in the name, image, and likeness space. We've had a couple of meetings with some athletes from LSU. Had one phone call with a football player from McNeese, and just talking about how name, image, and likeness is so wide open, and there is so much opportunity around NIL, that we believe that we can provide a platform for athletes, for at least them to begin to give you an idea of who they are, right? I mean, kind of be able to give a decision maker, a check writer, somebody who makes decisions on their own advertising and where the dollars are being spent, an opportunity to get to know somebody. We believe we provide an advantage because we have a relationship both with the student athletes and business owners here locally. And while I know that a lot of people are looking to take the middleman out, it's still, in my opinion, it's still one of the primary ways that business is done, especially down here in this culture of South Louisiana, where it's not as much of what you know, it's more of who you know. And the first couple of days of NIL stuff has been very successful, and just the conversations that we had, the people that we've spoke to, the people that we've met. but it gives you an idea from their space of just the feeling of what name, image, and likeness means to the student athletes. And Stingley Jr. is a guy that has collected here early on. He'll probably collect more before the season starts, and he will be promoting and marketing product for the next 5 months before he clarifies and enters his name into the NFL draft. So it was good to see that news come out yesterday for Stingley and Stingley Sr. and Stingley Jr. As Sting Sr. was here yesterday morning, really explaining the route and how they got there, some of the conversations that they've had up to this point, how you control really the blitz of people trying to get in touch with him, get a piece of him, pay for him. And if you missed it, it's great. Go check it out. It's brought to you by RMB Builders, just like our show is every day, with Rhett Bourgeois and his crew at rmb-builders.com. If you're looking for handiwork around the house, if you're looking for a total rehaul and reconstruction, if you want a custom-built house, Rhett and his crew can help you out. rmb-builders.com is how you get in touch with Rhett and his crew. Katie and I have both worked with Rhett directly, and very easy. And
Still working with Rhett.
Yes, I am too. And love his organization is the best, and just how he communicates with you, and very laid out and thorough, and no surprises, which I like in this process.
I was just going to say, when we talked about Derek Stingley Jr. a little bit, and we talked to Sting Sr., he had mentioned their walk-ons partnership. We were wondering what they were going to do, and it seemed like it might be a menu item. So I was wondering, what do you think they go with that? Did they go like, I guess they can't go alcoholic beverage. I was going to think like a Stingley Island.
Yeah, you can't do
because
that.
that would be like a nice little Mai Tai or something. That would be fun to drink. But I guess they do like a number 7, plate. I don't know what it would be, so I was wondering what you think how they form that partnership.
Yeah.
If it's a menu item.
Lockdown burger.
Ooh.
I like Stingley Island.
Yeah.
I know.
I guess you do like a surf and turf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
they
that.
have like the
That's a
Instagram
great
page.
idea.
Yeah, they have the Instagram page that's popping. I think Stingley has something to do with that a little bit.
Or I'll take the number 7.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
y'all.
That's a good one.
24/7. It's an all-day buffet.
Are
That's
y'all
right.
for hire?
That's right. Maybe Brandon.
Yeah,
Get in
these
touch.
ideas are free.
For the right price. We are.
Not free. They're not free.
I did hear Ryan Russillo, his podcast yesterday, had both Brandon Landry and Mackenzie Landry on, who Mackenzie, of course, is Brandon's wife and a part of the board of directors at Matchpoint. And she was on with Ryan, actually preceded Brandon's interview. Mackenzie was on for about 20 minutes with Ryan, explaining, just kind of the ins and outs of NIL, the ins and outs of Matchpoint. And then Brandon Landry hopped on Russillo's podcast, so a very much of a Louisiana flair for the Ringers podcast hosted by Ryan Russillo yesterday, that was published with both Mackenzie and Brandon Landry explaining kind of NIL stuff from their point of view, Matchpoint, and then Brandon explaining the deal with Stingley and walk-ons, just kind of how it works and his expectations for Stingley, the relationship that they have with Sting Sr. and the group over there at Matchpoint. Very informative. If you're looking for a good listen this weekend, or if you're out and about today, and you have digested the Jordy Culotta show and you want to move on to more sports centric podcasts, go check out Ryan Russillo's, because it's got a lot of Louisiana flair in there, in which you can learn about NIL from the Landry's point of view, whether it's Mackenzie, who is a board of director at Matchpoint, or it's Brandon Landry, who is a very successful business owner, of course, with walk-ons, and has inked not just the Stingley deal. They are in play with more athletes. Stingley's the one that's getting the notoriety, but they are dabbling in the space. I mean, it's not just LSU's best player who they are paying to promote. They are really believing in this and attacking this in more markets. So it'll be interesting to see how this stuff shakes out with Stingley and everybody over the next couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months here as
years.
We are here.
I know.
Yeah, years.
And every day is different.
It is.
Every day is a new day.
It is. Every day is different over at LSU Baseball. Jay Johnson is who was here earlier this week. I believe he was here on Wednesday or Tuesday.
But I don't know.
What?
I don't know which day it was.
Yeah, it was earlier this week.
Great way to do it.
Let's just go
Great
with
qualifier.
Earlier this week. But when he was here, he had been on the job for 10 days. It was his 10th day that he was on the job. And he was talking about how every day his mindset is just to win that day, right? Just go out, whatever the task is, go out and win it, whether it's hiring a staff, whether it's looking for better players, overhauling the roster, building the support staff, getting to know the program and really diving in to who and what LSU baseball is and how Jay Johnson can affect it moving forward. His first 2 weeks on the job, which I guess today would be the 12th day, has been very impressive. Just if you're looking from this point of view where, you don't have no direct access to the office every day, you can just kind of sit from afar and look at the changes that are being made to LSU baseball. And Jay Johnson's doing work, man. I mean, he will introduce Jason Kelly today, who's the pitching coach formerly of Arizona State. He was able to get his recruiting coordinator, Dan Fitzgerald, from Dallas Baptist, who has been a longtime associate head coach over there at Dallas Baptist for the last 9 seasons. And he's been able to really bring in some players. I mean, we talked about Tyler McManus, the offensive-minded catcher that they brought in from Samford. Obviously, Jacob Berry is continuing. I mean, him and Cruz, bro.
This is going to be a problem.
And the numbers that they're putting up with Team USA and just the reps that they're getting together. Wow. I mean, and then a couple of more arms joining the staff as well. We're going to talk to Kendall Rogers about Jay Johnson, about Jason Kelly, about some of the guys that Johnson is bringing in and how he expects that to impact LSU here in year one, going into the Jay Johnson era, and just how good LSU could be. I mean, it is the expectation of Omaha too much in Jay Johnson's first season? But when you look at his team and think about who he had coming back and what he has added alongside those pieces, I don't think it's far-fetched. I don't think it's too much to ask.
And when you look at what he did in his first year at Arizona, that's the first move he made. He got to Omaha in his first year. And there was a little lull that people were concerned with when he took over the Arizona baseball program. Whenever they didn't have a great record his next, I think 2 years, they missed Omaha and didn't have like a very good record in conference. But he was trying to get his own guys into the program. He had to re-recruit from basically the bottom. At LSU, that's not going to be a problem. Like, these guys want to stick around, want to play for a new coach, want to play for a winner, and I think that he's already doing some of the things that he learned from at this first pit stop at Arizona, or he's bringing guys with him that he knows that can play.
Yeah.
Like, I think bringing along a Jacob Berry and having the transfer portal is going to make the rebuild, quote unquote, much easier for him if he wants to bring in guys that he thinks suits the roster.
Eric Raiselman is the latest to transfer, as he announced he's coming in from San Francisco earlier this week. This seemed to have some type of correlation or tie to Fitzgerald, because as soon as Fitzgerald was announced, this news came across the wire that Eric Raiselman, who is a pitcher out of San Francisco, as we spent the last 2 seasons at San Francisco, this past year about 14 months removed from Tommy John surgery, had about 35 innings of action. So you add another arm to the bullpen and to the staff over the last 24 hours after the work that Jay Johnson has done in bringing in Fitzgerald. As we said today, he will announce Jason Kelly. Tyler McManus from Sanford is going to be adding some power to the roster, as he batted .346 with 11 home runs. He knocked in 53. He's got a nice OPS. His offensive numbers far surpassed the catchers on LSU's team last season. He can immediately play because of the transfer rules. So it's been very impressive to watch Jay Johnson work from afar over the last 2 weeks, and just looking at the focus that he has placed on building this. Has very much a Will Wade feel to it in the first season. I mean, if you recall, Will Wade with that press conference overlooking the student union and the day that he was introduced, I mean, he got off that podium and went straight to work. I mean, it was like news was flurrying in the first week and a half, 2 weeks that Wade was on campus, where he was he was totally overhauling the roster. I mean, there was a lot of expectation in year one of let him get it right, give him time to implement his theories, his players, his recruiting style, and he wasn't buying that. It was win now, and that first team made it to the NIT. That first team had a nice win in the NIT versus UL and Bob Marlin, and that really kind of turned into the launch pad for Wade in gaining the affection of the LSU basketball fan base. I mean,
he immediately became one of us.
He
after
absolutely
that,
did.
With the UL,
and
LSU.
it feels like Jay Johnson has very much endeared himself to the LSU baseball crowd, which I would imagine is a tough room to crack.
Yeah.
As a newbie, you know what I mean? Like the LSU basketball room. Will Wade walked in there. I mean, it's like a morgue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody, all the fans are 60, 70, 80 years old.
Just yearning for a Dale Brown.
Just yearning for something. You know what I mean? Like, Coach, sign this card for me, and I'll be okay.
81-82 schedule.
Yes, exactly. But he's reinvigorated some life into the program, and you're starting to see a young fan base take hold. The LSU baseball fan base is about as proud and it's about as difficult, in my opinion, to crack the room as a honeymooner.
Yeah, the hardest fraternity to get a bid to.
I can't even imagine.
As a newbie that you can probably find in college athletics, and he has endeared himself to the locals and to the fan base, in my opinion, as good as you could. Not that is a prerequisite for success, but just that's tough to do. and
it seems
really
like he did a
it.
great job of endearing himself to LSU right off the bat. He talked about Skip Burtman and Hold the Rope, and how he had instructional videos or like highlight tapes of Skip Burtman that he bought when he was younger. So he immediately played that card, which I think you pull the ace from the bottom of the deck if you have the chance. Like, oh, I know all about LSU. This is my dream job, and by dream job, here's A, B, and C about what I know about the program. So that's a great way to ingratiate yourself to the LSU baseball community, because if you come in here and pretend you don't know anything about it, or I'm going to take this program in my direction, that's getting off on the absolute wrong foot.
No, it is. And whoever has either consulted him or however he decided to have that approach into it, I think was golden. It was a great move, because he has gotten a feel around him within the first 2 weeks on the job that he's the guy. Like, there's little to no doubt around the fact that he was the right choice 2 weeks into work in the office, and just seeing the way that he's able to get players, put together a coaching staff. Very impressed with him, and we're going to talk to Kendall Rogers about that.
Well, that's what I want to ask him. I wonder how much we were all swindled by this LSU coaching search, because it seems like this guy Jay Johnson came in so prepared, so it seems like he knew the job was his from probably when the coaching search almost started.
It did seem like that.
It seemed like Woodward had circled him as the guy, and he's like, look, we're going to do a couple dances over here, dances over there, but pack your shit. You're coming to Baton Rouge.
And we were like one day away from printing t-shirts.
Because Kendall Rogers even got Kendall Rogers even got a little smoke screened a little bit. So I'm wondering if he was a part of the game, or if he knew, and how quickly he knew that Jay Johnson was going to be the guy.
Are you looking to sell your house this summer? If you're thinking about trying for sale by owner, then you need to check out our friend Barrett Blondo and Falaya. Their listing plans start as little as $399. You can sell your house by yourself, save thousands with Falaya. If you want more information, check them out online at falaya.com. Download the app today inside your Google App Store, inside your Apple App Store. Barrett Blondo, it's easy to get in touch with. In fact, his phone number, if you want it right now, take this down, 225-939-6153, 939-6153. Falaya Real Estate is basically for sale by owner on steroids. If you want more information, call Barrett Blondo or visit falaya.com this morning to find out the listing plans that start as low as $399. If you like doing things yourself around the house and you want to save some cash, then you need to check out Falaya Real Estate. It's do-it-yourself for selling your house. More information online at falaya.com. Looking forward to talking some recruiting with Jacoby Mathews coming up here. I got to watch that.
Yep.
Got to watch that for sure. We're coming up at 8 o'clock, and we'll talk to Jacoby about his recruitment, his expectation for freshman season, how special this class of 22 is, as we told you leading into the show. that LSU picked up another commitment yesterday. Demario Tolan out of Orlando, Florida, became the first linebacker to pledge his verbal commitment to LSU. This very much feels like the linebackers coach, Blake Baker.
Would you see the picture he put up, trolling Miami?
Yes,
I have it right here. But I mean, what a pot shot to come out with after you leave. And I get it, because he leaves Miami, and there was a little bit of sour grapes with Miami. They were acting like they wanted to keep him. Then when he left, it was like, oh, he's no good. Like, we didn't want him anyway. Very typical of a Miami fan base, it seems. But he comes out with this fishing picture of, always love coming to the Sunshine State and getting a big fish on the boat. Drops it right after Demario commits. So it's great to have. That's his first linebacker he's brought in, huh? That's the first one of the staff?
First one in the class.
Of the class, yes.
Yeah, so Tolan had offers from Auburn, Georgia, Miami, Michigan, Texas A&M. As he is sought after for sure as one of the big linebackers in this class. He is the son of two veterans. He's moved around the country. He's been from Army base to Army base, but now in Orlando, and very much a big time player. Usually, when you ask questions about out of state guys, you wonder how they can settle in and be away from home and moving from their home into another state, into another city, onto a college campus that they're unfamiliar with. Guys like this who have lived all over the country and have an understanding of what it's like to be uprooted and up and move at any point, in my opinion, are guys that really settle in to playing out-of-state college football. I don't think that you'll ever have to worry about homesickness with Demario Tolan. I think that he's been on the move his whole life, and to be in Baton Rouge and to see the quote that he says about LSU, his opening quote was that it's like a home away from home. If you don't just settle there, you're going to be great, talking about LSU. So another good one for LSU and Demario Tolan as they pick up another pledge to the class of 22. On the same day that the news pops that Dare Rosenthal officially is going to Kentucky. I think a lot of people expected this over the past couple of weeks, over the past week, with the news that has been centered around Dare and him going into the transfer portal. As soon as he went into the portal, Kentucky was the lead team. They felt like the leader in the clubhouse and the team to beat. And then yesterday, officially, it comes out that Dare is going to be heading up to Lexington to play for Mark Stoops and Kentucky. Which they've done a tremendous job of really bringing in players like this and understanding their position in the SEC, right? I mean, what Mark Stoops has done with Kentucky's football program is as much of a success story that the league has. I mean, Alabama's national championships, LSU's run in 2019, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss's offense, Mike Leach in Mississippi State, Georgia and Kirby Smart, Dan Mullen in Florida. I mean, there's so many storylines around the Southeastern Conference, Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. I believe Mark Stoops in Kentucky, for what they've accomplished at that school and kind of settling into who they are, is as big of a story and as good as a story as the conference from a football standpoint has, because they get guys like this. Kelvin Joseph is on the streets. They'll take a risk. They understand that, they may not be held to the same rules and standards that the big boys are held to, that the LSUs, the Alabamas, and the A&Ms and Floridas and Georgias may be held to. But if you want to get to the party and get a seat at the table, you got to get players. And Stoops has done a tremendous job of recruiting, and he's also done a really good job of selling his program to guys that are in this position like Dare Rosenthal is, where Rosenthal was going to be the starting left tackle for LSU. He was pegged that for the last couple of months. He knew that going into the offseason. Now he's off the team, and he's going to be starting for Kentucky, same way Kelvin Joseph was a couple years ago. These guys have their stories off the field now, and they didn't take care of their business, and they cost themselves. But Stoops has really set themselves up to be an annoying team in the East, is the way that I describe Kentucky. Like if you're Georgia, if you're Florida, if you're Tennessee, if you're South Carolina, if you're these Eastern teams and you got to play, that side of the bracket, that side of the conference, if I would look at the Kentucky game and just say, God, they're annoying because you can't overlook them. They're good enough now from a personnel standpoint. If you go in there unfocused or unmotivated, they'll beat you. I mean, they've got enough examples and skins on the wall now under Stoops to provide that, to prove that. And if you look at LSU's schedule in 2022, in 2021, the definition of a trap game, if you're looking for the trap on the schedule,
sandwich between Auburn and Florida,
the definition of LSU's trap game in 2021 is traveling to the Bluegrass State and going to Lexington to play Kentucky that weekend in between Florida and Auburn. And you're either going to be looking back or you're going to be looking forward, and if you don't look present day, you could get beat.
It's happened before.
That happened to Mississippi State. Kentucky was our easy win game like every year. And then like 2 years ago, we were like, they beat us, and we were like, what the hell? This was like our homecoming game.
Right. They're putting together a little squad, but LSU had, same thing happened to LSU in 2007, wasn't it, with Charles Scott and that whole squad? Yeah,
National championship.
National championship. Well, that's when we were undefeated in regulation.
Yeah. Get out of here, Les.
If you're undefeated in regulation, it seems like you wouldn't have played overtime. It seems like you'd have won the game.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, when you got a buffoon explaining the theory, what do you expect to come out of it?
It's like me betting Italian soccer. It's like I thought I won.
Right, yes, very much so. Good, we can collect on penalty kicks, right? No, you dumbass, you've lost.
Give me your thumb.
Chris Jarrell says, did Joseph get drafted? Did Kelvin Joseph get drafted? He did get drafted by the Cowboys.
Second round to the Cowboys.
Yeah, second round to the Cowboys. He'll be starting but by week 3. So it'll be interesting to see that game. I still think that LSU wins. LSU's going to be the favorite. But that is the definition of a trap game. I mean, if you are looking for a trap on LSU's schedule, look at the October tilt in Lexington, sandwiched between Florida and Auburn. A road trip to Auburn with a home game versus Florida with Kentucky in the middle of it is the definition of a trap. And, you know, I know that was a big push when Ed Orgeron got the job to quit losing and quit playing so bad against teams like Arkansas, where, you know, you lose motivation against some of the lower class teams, lower talented teams in the league. You weren't able to stay motivated week in, week out. That theory will be on the line for Ed Orgeron and his crew on that October matchup versus Kentucky. I still think that they're the favorite. I still think that they'll be picked to win the game. But when you just look at the definition of a trap game on a football schedule, and if you're looking specifically at LSU's in 2021, it would be hard-pressed not to circle Kentucky 10 out of 10 times.
Especially if that spreads around 7.5, 8. That's a Kentucky pool right there, I would imagine, if you're a gambling man. But I think that when you talk about that Arkansas game, I hope it goes back to that was the old regime, the old LSU, because after Alabama and after that loss that would seem to be impending every year, the Arkansas game just seemed like, all right, let's pack it in, because what's the point of playing the rest of the year? We lost that was our season. That was the LSU season. Then you play Arkansas the next week. Nobody really gives a shit. You have to go up to Arkansas half the time. You don't want to play there. And you can see the team would come out flat. Like they tried different things with all white uniforms and all these things to try to get the team motivated. But it never seemed to work just because that's an absolute bloodbath for 4 quarters. And then you come out and you don't win 6 years in a row, 7 years in a row, 8 years in a row. And you have to go play Arkansas. You're like, how can I even get up for this game? Like, I just played probably the biggest game of my college career, and then I have to go to Arkansas. Like, I understand why they lost. So I think Coach O's done a good job of being able to right the ship after that.
I agree. That is one of the success stories that Orgeron has been able to accomplish in his 4 years, is keeping them motivated week in, week out. He'll be tested again this year on that date. That is going to be October 9th that they travel to Lexington. And I believe that I said that Auburn was on the road. Auburn's at home and Florida's at home. So it's sandwiched in between 2 home games.
It's almost worse.
On October 2nd, they will host Auburn. They travel to Kentucky on October 9th, and then they're back home to host Florida on October 16th for those 3 weeks. And then even if you look the next week, I mean, the month of October for LSU, real quick, I mean, I know that we've probably played this game when the schedule is announced and we've gone down the schedule, but when you look at the month of October for LSU, October 2nd, you host Auburn. October 9th, you travel to Kentucky. October 16th, you host Florida. Did I say they host Auburn on October 2nd? They host Auburn on October 2nd. They travel to Kentucky on October 9th. They host Florida on the 16th. They travel to Ole Miss on October 23rd before an open date on Halloween weekend and then travel to Tuscaloosa the first Saturday in November. I mean, you say out loud those 4 football games in October, and I know it always comes down it always comes down to the first Saturday in November for LSU when people circle that tilt versus Alabama. But you better win the month of October if you're LSU football. You better be able to get through the month of October, I mean, undefeated.
Have to.
If you want to play for a championship.
It's not last year's Florida where LSU was, able to go into the swamp and win, but that team was a top 5 team. They've lost a good bit of what they had on their roster. It's almost a little bit comparable to 2019 LSU where they lost all their skill guys. So that should be a win, but every time you have a tilt against Florida, you throw, what do they say about rivalries? You throw the records out the window, whatever, cliche you want to toss at it, but it won't be the walkover game that probably people are thinking just because they've lost their quarterback, their skill guys, and Kadarius Toney and Kevin and Pitts. So I think it'll be a matchup that I think will be harder than LSU fans expect.
Hub International Insurance brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. If you're a business owner out there, have you done a recent dependent audit? Are you aware on how this may lower your health insurance cost? Over at Hub International, they can show you things like this where they can bring down your cost within your office on health insurance. Let Scott Daugherty help you out today over at Hub International Insurance. We can put you in touch with Daugherty. All you need to do is email us, jordy@jordyculotta.com. If you are taking advantage, if you are a business owner, of the advantages of the work site benefits available in the market. So to enhance your employee benefits program, let Scott Daugherty and Hub International Insurance help you out with those types of things. They can help you out today, starting today. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, jordy@jordyculotta.com, and we'll put you in touch with Daugherty and his crew over at Hub International Insurance. All right, Jacoby Mathews is considered by a lot of the talking heads, a lot of the evaluators, as the #1 player in the state of Louisiana. This season cycle is as special as the state has produced in a long time. When you think about some of the talented classes that has come through LSU, the class of 2021 is as gifted as anybody has seen in a long time. And Jacoby Mathews is widely considered to be the #1 player in that class. He is a hard-hitting safety out of Ponchatoula. He is also a very skilled athlete that had taken over the quarterback duties since TJ Finley graduated a couple of years ago for the Greenies. He's now calling the signals for Hank Tierney and the Greenies over at Ponchatoula. Looking forward to our conversation with the state's top player, Jacoby Mathews, coming up here in mere minutes on the Jordy Culotta Show, brought to you daily by Go Chevrolet. Check them out online, GEAUXchevrolet.com. When we come back, we'll be joined by Jacoby Mathews right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Hebert over at Hebert's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Hebert's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live here on this Friday. Waiting to link up here with Jacoby Mathews. We'll have him. What's that?
I don't have a car.
That's right. That's right.
We'll
Go Chevrolet.
Figure it out.
Go Chevrolet.
Go Chevrolet.
Where are you, Lee Carney? Where are you, Nick Richard?
Lloyd needs a ride.
I'll take one of those pedal bikes with a motor like that, you know, just get you going a little bit.
I can totally see you driving that
Yeah,
around
I'll
town.
cruise around on one of those things.
How do you not have one already?
Well, because I had a car. I mean, you can't really beat a car.
Then you don't have to worry about carbs if you're riding around on a bike. No, I'm talking about you and your carb fear. You just get a bike and drive around town.
The carb theory saved my life. I would be out of commission. I don't know what I would have been shitting in a bucket while doing the show.
That is
a great visual.
It is.
It really is.
Let me see this real quick.
Or We're filibustering,
tight.
if you're wondering.
We are
Keep telling the people how you use the bathroom.
In a bucket, even
Wait,
at home.
what was the new deal on Kara, the snake?
Hello.
What do you talk? Oh, they found her.
I knew they found her.
What did I put? What did I put in the
You
document?
put
Oh,
something in here. Something new happened, right?
so they asked the people at the mall
Yeah.
about what they thought about Kara the snake, and they had some quotes, which
like
were
live interviews at the mall.
yes,
as Kara was
while
being
they were
rescued?
while she was being searched for.
Okay.
And I'm putting them up now on the screen. But
Okay.
there's Dylan Graham says, "I didn't see no snake. Ain't nobody making a big fuss about it. Like it was a big thing. They tell all these people to leave, and that's exactly what they did about 5 minutes after Dylan says that."
So he thought it was like a conspiracy
Yeah,
theory.
he's like, I don't know what the big deal is. And then the next person is the better one. It's like, I bet it's somewhere in Foot Locker. I'm not going to lie to you. It's somewhere in Foot Locker.
Why Foot Locker?
Snakes don't have feet.
Why Foot Locker of all the stores?
I don't know,
Food
but-
court would make the most sense, right?
Who said that Kara weighed 40 pounds? They were.
You.
You did.
Okay,
You
but I
did.
read that somewhere.
I think you
And then
missed
I
you
put
missed
in
the one.
chat of
I
150,
mean, the thing weighed
150.
150 pounds.
Yes.
That's what I need to get better at. When you said it, I was like, it's 12 feet
Who
long.
said she weighed
it weighs
40?
40 pounds. Like, how does that even work?
Who's the moron that
You
said they
said-
weighed 40 pounds?
You did. I was like furiously typing right after
Nuh-uh.
you said that.
Uh-huh.
It's not 40
I
pounds.
would love
We
to-
just talked to Jacoby Mathews. He is just waking up. I'm making an executive decision. I'm pushing this interview back till 8:45 this morning.
Let the man
We're
shower.
gonna give our
get
man
ready.
a chance to get up, get moving, get something in the stomach, get his thoughts moving, and we will get him on at 8:45 this morning here as Jacoby Mathews, who is the top player in the state, #1 safety in the country, and a hell of an athlete. We'll stop by here at the end of hour 2.
How many times do you feel like you've been burned about the early morning interview? Like, if you could have done it later in the afternoon, it would have been better.
The biggest burn that I've ever had this business off of a morning interview was Reggie Bush.
Oh, what happened?
How much did you hype it up before?
Oh gosh.
That's why we don't do that
So
now. I
brutal.
bet.
Yeah. No, it was a life lesson. It was Reggie Bush has been a white whale for me in this business. You know what I mean? Like he's been just
Great White Buffalo.
almost the untouchable.
And arm's length.
And the weekend that it was announced that he was going into the Saints Hall of Fame, I was able to track down his contact and sent him a text message before I went to sleep at at 10 o'clock, thinking he'll never respond. I mean, just
Oh, the you up text.
yeah, they're just, hey Reggie, congratulations. We'd love to get you on our show. We roll 7 to 9 a.m. If you can work it out, please let us know. If not, we can record it at a time for convenient for you.
Anything.
And he texted me back at 1 in the morning because he was in Cali.
California
Yeah, he was-
time.
but it was a learning lesson for sure in the business of. Well, and I had started to promote that we're getting Reggie Bush. You know, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. Because when I got his contact, I thought this is all I needed. I mean, this is all I needed. As soon as I get his contact, I'm gonna chase him down. I'm gonna get him. And it never would shake out. It would never align. You know what I mean? It would never
Two
match
ships
up.
passing in the night.
Yes.
Like I said, the you up text when you fire off that you just get home from the bar, that 1:40 a.m. text, and then you fall asleep at 1:45, and then you wake up and you see two texts at 1:55. You're like, oh no,
Yes.
Wow.
I blew it.
Yeah, they answered.
They answered. I never thought they would.
I mean,
Shooting my shot.
you almost wanted the next day,
What's your address?
why'd you answer?
Yeah,
What was it about last night?
it's the best version of me.
That's right. All right, so Kendall Rogers is coming up here in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk to Nathan Velasquez. Velasquez just texted and said to pull up a before and after on Brendan Fraser and said it's going to be bad.
It's terrible.
I'm
You
sad
have
about
seen
that.
it, and it sounds like the room has reacted to
I
seeing
haven't looked yet.
the picture.
I want to be surprised live.
We will get Nathan's description of that. He also said that Harrison Ford was injured on the production of Indiana Jones. You don't think, huh? I mean, is that
He's like
surprising? I mean, he's got to be
70-something
close to
years
80
old.
years old, huh?
Bones are brittle.
I mean, how old is
Yes.
Harrison
We'll have to
Ford?
find out. This is
And
ridiculous.
I'm guessing 75 would be the over/under. I'd say
78.
I'd say 'cause I was gonna say
it
over.
looks great.
He
Yeah,
does.
it does.
Look
Well, I mean,
great.
Hollywood, bro.
See, that's the argument because you said Brendan Fraser doesn't look as great anymore. Harrison Ford still does.
Well, yeah, he's out there doing his own stunts and breaking his hip. Like, of course he
guess.
looks good. He's trying to stay active, but at what
You
cost?
don't have to get fat.
Broken hip.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a death
sucks.
sentence.
Ugh.
Yeah, it kind of.
It's 78 years old, a broken hip.
Is that what happened to him?
That's a tough one.
Oh, I don't know. I thought
you just said that?
Well, he did.
Well, I'm saying that's what happens to old people. Old people fall down and they break their hip, and then you bury them.
Well, he got a. I know that he got an injury on during production of Indiana Jones.
I mean, I doubt it's like an ACL. It's a bone. It's a hip. It's a collarbone.
He hurt his shoulder.
It's a shoulder. Was my
while
next
rehearsing an action scene, reportedly involving a train.
So we will talk to Nathan about that coming up at 8:30 this morning.
You know, they're fighting on a train in those movies.
Yeah,
it's probably jumping.
Damn train.
Yeah. Going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, you got to duck down before you hit the tunnel.
Jacoby Mathews.
Reaching for his hat. It fell off the train, hyperextended the shoulder. Can't lose the end of the Jones hat.
Jacoby Mathews will be here at the end of hour number 2 here today, so appreciate him joining. Yesterday we were over at A-Bears for lunch again. It was fantastic. Appreciate everybody that was stopping by there. Lunch is seemingly catching on over at A-Bears here in Baton Rouge. It's located in Jefferson Highway, next to Pearson's Luggage, inside of the Jefferson Highway Shopping Center. Stop in and check them out. Lunch specials like chili dogs and po' boys and sausage po' boys. To be added to the menu is going to be a light selection of a chicken salad or some type of salad, hopefully early next week for another selection over there. But check them out. You can stop in for lunch today, and while you're waiting on the lunch to be served, you can check out the full freezers that they have filled with steaks and hamburgers and deboned stuffed chickens for you to take home and throw on the grill, throw in the oven. As I said that one of our friends, Chris Boyce, who is a local business owner here in town over at Ferguson ADL, said when the wife's away, that A-Bears are working late.
Working late.
Or as Miss Boyce.
I texted him. I was like, she's not working late.
Works very hard.
I don't know where you got your information. But.
When she's pushing a little overtime, Chris.
I wonder why she does that.
Yeah, Chris is
With
go
me
to.
at the bar.
Yeah, right. These two are shopping on Rodeo Drive.
More champagne, please.
Yes, right. On their private air. Did you hear that Jordy said I worked?
I gotta tell her that. I can't believe I haven't texted her and told her that.
Another coat of clear coat, please.
What a peasant. What a peasant.
Work.
But Chris stops in and picks up a chicken at A-Bears, throws it in the oven. An hour and a half later, the crew is eating for the rest of the weekend. So very easy for you over there at A-Bears Specialty Meats, Baton Rouge and Prairieville locations. So stop in and check them out.
20% off Omaha ribeye steaks there if you want them.
Let's go.
Snagged one yesterday.
Let's talk some baseball. Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball is going to be here next. We will ask him about the additions for LSU staff. We'll get his thoughts on Jay Johnson. We'll ask him about when the job was open, if Johnson was the tab the whole time, and his thoughts on LSU baseball being competitive next season under the direction of their new head baseball coach, Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball, coming up next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Give me about 1 minute. We'll be reset and be right back with you. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet. Check them out online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. LSU Baseball continuing to stay in headline news as Jason Kelly, pitching coach, will be introduced here today. Dan Fitzgerald, the new recruiting coordinator, is set to be introduced. A couple of new players, so a lots to get to with, in my opinion, the voice of college baseball. If you follow college baseball, D1 Baseball is really the site that you go to for all of your information. No matter the conference, no matter the school, no matter the geography or wherever you are in the country, it seems like D1 Baseball has got the corner on all of the news. And the headline name you always hear from there is Kendall Rogers. He does great work and is kind enough to start his Friday morning off with us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Kendall, I know that you are a lot of people are trying to get to you and bring you on their show. I appreciate you scratching out a couple of minutes for us here on this Friday, man. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thankfully, LSU Baseball has kept me busy over the last couple of weeks. So.
They have, man. They absolutely. I feel like you've been on the beat for LSU as much as you've been tweeting and talking about LSU news. Let's start there. Jay Johnson was introduced about 12 days ago, and he seemed like Scott Woodward had him in the crosshairs for a while. I know that there was a lot of speculation when that job was open on who was going to take it and who the names were. When did you realize that Johnson was the guy, and overall, what do you think of him now that he is in place as LSU's lead man?
Yeah, it's interesting. I started to hear about it about 24 hours after Arizona was eliminated, and obviously there were a lot of moving pieces and a lot of things that kind of changed and switched gears in the LSU search. I mean, obviously Kevin O'Sullivan and Pat Casey were heavily in the mix at the beginning, and then things kind of twisted from there. So I didn't really want to run with it too much, but I'd heard that about 24 hours later, and then I don't know, 12 to 16 hours later, it sounded like it was actually true. So I started to put all the pieces together. But, it's an interesting hire for me. Obviously, I've known Jay ever since the time at San Diego when he was an outstanding recruiter and assistant there for the Sparrows. Look back at, what USC has accomplished as a program. I mean, they were rolling when they had him and Long Beach State, now Long Beach State head coach Eric Valenzuela. And it's no coincidence they've struggled since both those guys have left. So, I've kind of followed him since those days. And, the one thing I'll say about him is, he on paper, he may not be a geographic fit at a place like LSU. I'll tell you what the guy is. He's a really, really good coach. He knows all the right buttons to push. He's an excellent offensive coach in particular. And the one thing that I'll say about him, too, is he is an absolute grinder on the recruiting trail. One thing they mentioned, when Paul stepped away, is he mentioned that Nolan Cain did a lot of the recruiting. I can tell you that, Jay Johnson will be heavily, heavily involved in recruiting. Obviously, Jason Kelly is a very good recruiter as a pitching coach. And, I've known Dan Fitzgerald for over a decade now, and I think he's an excellent recruiter as well. So the MO with the staff is they are going to recruit, and I also think they're really good coaches.
Yeah, Kendall Rogers joining us here, D1 Baseball, talking Jay Johnson, and it does seem like the recruiting aspect has been very much a sense of urgency for Coach Johnson since he's been on staff. I mean, he's brought in guys like Jacob Berry, and he brought in Tyler McManus out of the transfer portal. You mentioned the geography, and that was one of the biggest pieces of feedback when people were voicing maybe their concerns for their hire, and there hasn't been that many concerns on Johnson because it seems like he checks all the boxes, but him being a West Coast guy in an SEC school, how do you remedy the LSU fans' stress on that when you just talk about recruiting?
Well, I think the biggest thing for LSU is the fact that they shouldn't skip much of a beat in the spring. I mean, obviously they got to kind of piece things together and get guys like Blake Money and Ty Floyd to take a step up pitching wise. But I mean, he's not walking in a situation where he's having to do a total rebuild. He's got some really nice pieces offensively, and so you're already kind of walking in a situation from a point of being in an advantage. And so I'm not that worried about it. I mean, obviously, when you look at the staff, I mean, there's not a lot of Louisiana there, but Dan, is a Texas guy. I mean, I get that he's originally from the Midwest, but I mean, he's been in Texas for 2 decades now. He certainly knows the state of Louisiana, and I think Jay's one of those guys that, one of the advantages of being at Arizona and then going to LSU is that at Arizona you really have to recruit nationally. There's just not a lot of players around Tucson. There are a lot of players in Phoenix, but there's not a lot of players around Tucson. So if you look at Arizona's roster, they've got kids from Texas, Wisconsin, California. The list kind of goes on. And so he's had to recruit all over the country. And so I think the biggest thing for him is I do think it's important, whether it's a volunteer role, whether it's an ops role or things like that. I do think there's importance to having someone that knows the lay of the land in the state of Louisiana behind the scenes, not necessarily on the staff, but somebody, who behind the scenes can tell you, hey, if you go into Bro Bridge, I know this guy, or, you go into Thibodeau, I know this guy. So I do think there's an advantage there, but I get it. I mean, the only West Coast guy who's gone to the SEC was Andy Lopez, and that was a pretty short tenure there at Florida. But I don't think Jay's Andy Lopez. He's not an older guy that's on the kind of the back end of his career. He's a younger guy who's extremely hungry to win in the SEC. He's wanted to be in the SEC for a decade now.
You brought up Jason Kelly, and he'll be introduced today officially for LSU. He's leaving Arizona State and is going to join Jay Johnson's staff. What do the Tigers get with Kelly's addition?
Well, I always kind of look at, how programs fare when the guys leave. And, as I mentioned with Jay leaving San Diego as an assistant to go to Nevada as a head coach, look at Washington since Jason Kelly left. I mean, Washington got to Omaha the year that he won our Assistant Coach of the Year award, and ever since then, Washington has really struggled. And so there's a reason for that, and that's because the guy's a really good pitching coach. I get a lot of people are going to look back at last year and go, if you look at Arizona State, they had 3 or 4 arm injuries and things like that. I mean, I think those are freak deals. I mean, a couple of years ago, I thought he did a really nice job with Cooper Benson, Eric Coleman, Boyd Vanderkoy, and guys like that at Arizona State. But there's no doubt they had a lot of bad luck this past year. But, I like a lot of these guys have known Jason forever, and he's a really good recruiter. And his tracker with pitchers is actually very good. So, it's not maybe Rob Childress on the Richter scale, but it's a very good hire.
How about Dan Fitzgerald? A lot of people around baseball were very excited when Johnson was able to pull him out of Dallas Baptist.
Well, it's kind of like an icing on the cake situation, because if you look at that position, typically you're just getting a recruiter. The thing with Dan, though, is he's an excellent recruiter, and, oh, by the way, he had a hand in Dallas Baptist offense, which is, if anybody's followed Dallas Baptist baseball in the Heathman era, they've really, really hit. And so you're getting you're getting a coach for 2 different things at once with Dan, and the offense and the recruiting aspect. So I'm sky high on Dan, and one thing people don't realize is that the dominoes on this deal have fallen rather interestingly. If you look at Dan, A&M originally went after Dan Fitzgerald. They weren't able to land him. Instead they go get Nolan Cain, and then now Dan Fitzgerald ends up at LSU. When he turned down A&M, he was in the mix for a couple of head jobs. It sounds like those head jobs went different directions, so he kind of readjusted his priorities. But if he takes A&M, Nolan probably stays at LSU, and the dominoes don't really fall that way. So it's just interesting between those 2 schools how things have kind of fallen into place.
You mentioned Fitzgerald's got a little input on the offense, and the numbers at Arizona offensively over the past couple of seasons under Johnson's direction are, they're embarrassing. Like the way that they produce is amazing. How do you see Johnson divvying that up, and what is his input on the offense? We talked to him a couple of days ago, and he seems like he's an offensive-minded guy. He loves all that stuff. But from a coaching aspect, when you evaluate him, how do you see him on the offensive, kind of as the OC of LSU baseball?
Yeah, I think Dan and Jay are going to be kind of hand in hand on the offense, approach. I think if you looked at Jay and you watched Arizona games this past year, you saw him heavily involved in strategy. He was out there talking to hitters, during timeouts and being very involved. I think the biggest thing with him is, people look at Arizona and they're just going to say, oh, they were just a bunch of bachelors. I've seen people say, gorilla balls back. And there may be some truth to that. But also, if you look at Arizona's offense, this was not a offense that relied heavily on home runs. They relied heavily on extra base hits. And so that's the key for me for a good offense is, it's really nice if you can hit 12 home runs. But hey, let's see how many doubles and let's see how many triples you have. And Arizona had a ton of doubles. So I think the thing with Jay is when you look at that offense for next year, it is silly good. You look at the potential return of Gavin Dugard. You look at obviously Jacob Berry, Dylan Cruz, Trey Morgan. I can't imagine trying to navigate those guys in that lineup. Again, I think looking ahead, if LSU can pitch at all, I feel very, very, very good about this team in year 1 of the Johnson era.
Johnson said that Berry's the best switch hitter he's ever coached. and maybe ever seen. What is it's scary to think about him alongside Trey Morgan and Dylan Cruz. What is LSU getting, Barry?
No, he's awesome. I saw him several times throughout the year, and it's not every day you see a lot like Dylan. It's not every day you see a freshman or Trey. It's not every day you see a freshman with just that mature of an approach. I remember it was kind of funny. I remember back in the fall when I saw Dylan and Trey, and I remember Paul telling me, like, hey, I've never seen kids like this polished as freshmen, and he was right. And I think the same thing applies to Jacob Berry. He had an outstanding spring. He was very, very consistent. He had a very good approach. And I was talking to USA Baseball manager Elliot Avent a couple of days ago for a story, and like he couldn't stop talking about Jacob Berry. He's like, man, I love Dylan Cruz. Like he's amazing, but like the Jacob Berry guy, like he's incredible. And so I think that duo there is going to be pretty fun to watch. And it's crazy that Trey Morgan is third fiddle to those guys right now because he's a really good player in his own right.
You mentioned Elliot Avent, and I didn't want to talk NC State baseball in this interview, but how is he? Has he recovered from Omaha?
He's doing well. It's kind of interesting. He had a tough couple of weeks, and I've known Elliot forever, and his guy's got a heart of gold. And he, I asked him, I said, hey, did you actually watch the championship series? He said, you know what? Scott Foxhall, who's a pitching coach at State now, was at NC State for the longest time. He was like, you know what, guys like that put, all of their time and energy into my program, and I'm not going to not watch those guys potentially win the national championship.
Wow.
So he watched it, and then a day later he was at Team USA. He did admit, though, that it was probably very therapeutic for him to get to Team USA as soon as possible to kind of get his mind off of that. But, it's crazy. I mean, when you look at, obviously Mississippi State could have very easily won the national championship had they played NC State. But, man, I just thought Vanderbilt did not look very good the whole World Series, and yet they played for the national championship. So I would actually prefer just to see a team that's actually playing at the highest level play Mississippi State. But give State a lot of credit. They had an awesome season.
Kendall Rogers, the face of college baseball, really when you're following it from D1 Baseball, he's over there and has all the news. Make sure you hit him on Twitter. He's a great follow there, and read his work at d1baseball.com. Last year's pro draft was only 5 rounds, which gave the opportunity for guys like Dylan Cruz and Jacob Berry probably to be on college campuses. How do you see the draft affecting recruiting classes, specifically LSU's going into the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, obviously, if you look at the LSU's class, there is a little bit of a risk out there. I mean, I think you look at Ben Kurdna, and you look at guys like Ian Moeller, Carter Jensen. I mean, there's some guys here who could get drafted pretty high. Kudma, in particular, is a guy that is probably going to sign. He's going to get drafted very high as just a premier right-handed pitcher for them. But I'll be very, I'll be very curious to see what happens with the guys on campus in this draft, because if you look at the situation now, especially with NIL at a place like LSU, I mean, if you're a draft eligible junior and you don't get a lot of money, you can get a little bit of NIL money. Yeah. It's just like why would you sign? Like, you go back to college for another year. If you have a great year under Jay, you can actually make a little bit of money on this. So I think the NIL thing, and this is for, I guess, probably another whole show, but I think the NIL thing, specifically at a place like LSU, is really going to help them keep kids that are upperclassmen from signing for peanuts. Yeah.
Tyler McManus was inked earlier this week out of the portal from Samford. His offensive numbers really pop when you look at him from a catching standpoint. LSU believes they have the best defensive catcher in college baseball with Milazzo. His offensive numbers are just they're just not there. How do you see this competition shaking out throughout the fall and heading into spring?
Well, it's kind of funny. I was reading an LSU message board yesterday, and one of the people said, hey, Alex Milazzo is going to have to hit the ball. Well, Tyler McManus is going to have to catch well too. I mean, there were times last year where he really struggled defensively, and so I'm not entirely sure what Jay's going to do with these two guys. But obviously, Milazzo is a premier defensive catcher. McManus is a premier hitter. So my hunch on this is Milazzo will catch, and McManus will probably be in a DH role. The thing about Milazzo is, especially if you have a really good offensive lineup, to me, if you're a catcher, you can at least hit with a little bit of pop, even if you hit 250. Like, if you're a premier defender, like, anything you can do offensively for me, especially in a lineup like that, is just kind of it's kind of gravy, as they say. Like it's just like an added bonus. And so I would expect him to catch, and McManus probably DH. But you know what? They're going to give him a shot. I mean, it's going to be a competition this fall, and I'll tell you what, I'm actually really looking forward to getting back over there in the fall, just kind of seeing a different environment. Not necessarily that the old culture and the old environment was bad by any means, but just seeing in the LSU program with a little bit of a shot in the arm, so to speak.
Do you put Jacob Berry at third on this team, even though you got Doty in? I mean, the infield seems with Morgan and Thompson and Doty seemed like they were pretty solid there, but had an opening at second base. How do you handle Berry now defensively?
Yeah, I'll be very curious to see what they do with Berry. I mean, obviously he's not going to be at first because Trey Morgan's going to be at first, and I don't think he's going to DH. I think at this point, as at his level as a draft prospect, he needs to be in the field and somewhere. So, I mean, I would say anywhere from third to maybe left field. I mean, here's my thing, and this isn't being mean or anything, but if Kate Beloso can play left field, Jacob Berry can. So I would think left field would be an option as well.
Salute to you, Kendall Rogers, who introduces yourself to Tiger Droppings.
I know that was
the message board. What was your thoughts when you got introduced to the sewer of LSU fans and really never ran from it, never hide from it? I mean, it takes some balls in our business to admit that you're there, and then you go in and start chatting with them.
First,
bro, that was a hell of a move.
Well, some of the people like originally hated me on there. Now they kind of like me.
Yes.
So I'm a little afraid. It's like going to the Tiger's den, staying on a piece of meat, and like somebody in the Tiger acting like they like you a little bit. So you know what? I'm on my toes at that place, but I don't post on there a lot. But the thing about it is I just love people who are passionate about college baseball, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on there. Like, if somebody is passionate and cares enough to have a 15-page forum thread on college baseball, like, I'm a fan of you in my book.
It was great. I commend you. We were talking about it on the air, and when it was all going down, talking about just the balls on Kendall Rogers, man.
Well, they really love my man Moscona on there. I know that
Good Lord.
Thank you, man. I know that you're very busy. Looking forward to seeing you down in Baton Rouge and catching up. Thank you for the time.
You got it, guys. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
There's Kendall Rogers checking in from D1 Baseball, giving a little insight on that LSU hiring and some of the new faces that we'll see there. He's right on Berry, right? I mean, he's got to be in the field. And I don't think that's a shot at Cade Beloso. It just gives you an idea that there is a spot for a guy like that. I mean, if Berry's going to be that good offensively, he's a draft prospect, you got to get him on the field.
Yeah, we'll throw you anywhere.
And I love that he shut down the first base argument as well. I mean, like, whoever was starting, you can't take Trey Morgan off of first.
That's TigerDroppings.com. That's the epitome of that website. Like, I heard he played outfield in high school. Then I read an article where his dad was taking him out to first base when he was 5 years old and beating balls at him. It's like, I don't think he ever played the outfield, never even looked at it.
Yeah, and not even thinking about it.
No, that's just conjecture. But Kendall Rogers, he's smart to get on that website and then get off.
Edward Jones brings you the Jordy Culotta Show daily here. Remember, Daniel Newman is our guy over there. He has helped us out tremendously. We rolled over our 401k to him just about 6 months ago, and he has provided an excellent return on that in a short window. He promised us it would be easy, and it has been simple. Get in touch with Daniel Newman. He's online at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our financial advisor. Let him answer all of your financial questions for you this morning, whether it's 401k, Social Security, investments, whatever you're looking to do, and specifically if you're working within the plant industry, if you're out at Exxon, if you're at BASF, if you're at Dow, any of these local plants here in our community, and you have questions about your finances, whether they are present day or you're looking towards the future and thinking life after work, let Daniel Newman help you out with all of those choices. He has been tremendous for us. Let him do the same for you. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. We will find out the latest on Brendan Fraser. We'll find out what's going on with Harrison Ford. The Cannes movie festival is happening over in France. It wrapped up. We'll talk all about that with Nathan Velasquez. And then Jacoby Mathews, who's the #1 player in the state of Louisiana, top safety out of Ponchatoula, will stop by before we get out of here at 9 a.m. Go Chevrolet drives us every day. We'll talk to you on the other side, and we'll be talking to Nathan Velasquez here in a couple of minutes on the Jordy Culotta Show. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show live on this Friday. Good stuff from Kendall Rogers as he stopped by talking a little LSU baseball. Jay Johnson and the crew. We go from college baseball to Hollywood, and we go to our Hollywood insider, Nathan Velasquez, who is up in New York City here on this July weekend. Happy belated 4th, buddy. Good morning. How are you?
Doing pretty good. The city is currently like 3 days into just being drenched. Totally. It's been raining nonstop. Ugh. What's it like over there with all the pythons and everything?
Yes. Snakes escaping from the mall, hanging out in the mall of Louisiana. Typical July weather, sunshine and rain, in and out of the day. But very hot, very humid. Nathan, a bucket list item for me within the movie industry, which you guys do a lot of cool stuff over in the in that space. But the Cannes Film Festival. Ever since I saw the episode on Entourage, when Ari and the boys take Cannes, has always been a bucket list item for me. Have you been? I know the answer here. And tell our listeners the story of how you got there and what that experience was like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, thank you, because you and your show was a huge help in that. I applied to this program. It was the first year that they were holding this 3-day in Cannes program, pretty much for people in their early 20s that wanted to go and experience the film festival. You have to pretty much apply, put forward work that you had done, show that you're not just that you actually know what the festival is. This was like 2018, and I was doing just some PA work on Greyhound, that Tom Hanks movie in Baton Rouge.
That's right.
And
it was on the USS Kid, right?
On the USS Kid.
Yeah.
Yep, that is right. That's right. And I went ahead, got accepted, was not really expecting that. But then at that point, like immediately the day that I got that acceptance email, I put up a GoFundMe to see if people would not mind helping to donate to get me over to the festival. And it worked. I think it was like within 10 days. And like I said, your show was a huge help in promoting that. And, well, whenever I went, it was absolutely incredible. I don't really remember sleeping at the camp. I know that I did at some point.
Took a pill in Ibiza.
What was it like from your perspective? You were at the time very green to the business in the sense of, if I recall, you were making the decision that this is going to be my future. I'm going to be a filmmaker. What was that point of view like for somebody at your age and at your point in your professional life experiencing the Super Bowl, right? I mean, that's got to be the apex of the movie industry.
It was, and yeah, exactly that year, the movie Parasite premiered at the Cannes Film Festival to huge acclaim, and then 8 months later, it went on to win Best Picture. So, like a lot of things in terms of the business. And I mean, you're asking like, what was the thing in going that kind of like being green to the business opened eyes to how it actually is. The Cannes Film Festival, it looks a lot like it's about the glamour. Like if you go Google Cannes Film Festival and look at the news, they think it's all about the red carpet, the dresses, the glamour. But when you go, it's surprising how that's a small sliver of what's being shown to people and how everything around that is just business deals. Like they've got entire like conference room, like huge room arenas filled up with just posters from like these small Sylvester Stallone movies that like you've never even heard of, but they're trying to sell them to German distributors. They're trying to sell it to Italian distribution companies. It's just got all of this business surrounding the glamour that you never see. And I think that was probably the thing that I didn't really realize was so much a part of that festival in particular.
I don't know if you can answer this directly because I don't know if you have a relationship with him, but why do actors feel like they have to act into their 70s? Like I see this story on Harrison Ford getting hurt on the Indiana Jones set. What the hell is he doing there at 77? Like,
weren't we saying that like with the last Indiana Jones movie too? Like he actually turned 79 next week. And I think the last time, he got injured on the last one too. And that was kind of more like, I think he tried to jump at one point, and then it was like, oh, well, he hurt his ankle. And it's like, okay, well, he's in his 60s. Maybe he can get away with that. On this one, he was practicing a fight scene. I think it was like dodging a punch in like just slow motion to practice. And then he like tears something in his shoulder. And now it's like, well, now they're saying they might have to push back the release date. Hey, I'm all for Indiana Jones 5. I love Indiana Jones. I mean, he's got to have enough money, I would think. He doesn't have to be going back for Indiana Jones 5.
I mean, wouldn't you think?
Nicolas Cage.
I mean, my God, man. I mean, he's probably run through $100 million in Hollywood. And for him to be on a set at 77 throwing his shoulder out, I mean, if I'm his grandson, if I'm his kid, I'm like, yo, Pop, bro, it's over.
And they just killed him off of Star Wars. Like, get the hell out of here.
Let's go to our island and
let me do this thing.
Yes. Make way for some of the youngsters, man. You are reviewing Southern No Sudden Move this week on 5 Minute Critic. What stands out?
This, I would say, is a perfect movie if you were trying to decide what it is you're going to watch tonight with the family, the wife, the husband. This works perfectly for that. Just under 2 hours. It is a noir crime thriller. Like the whole thing filled with mystery, and it moves with tons and tons of twists. Not like a Sixth Sense level of twist, but just the way that all of these characters, it's tons and tons of characters. You've got like John Hamm, you've got Kieran Culkin, you've got Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro. All of them, you can tell from the moment they show up on screen, they cannot be trusted. And that makes it so much more fun that like 30 minutes in, you might feel like, oh, I guess we're wrapping up here or something like that. And then you realize that everything that you thought was going on was a total lie. The narrative shifts completely. It has its road bumps, a few missteps, nothing terrible, but it's a really fun movie, and it's on HBO Max.
A bit like Knives Out.
That would actually be a really good. That'd be a really good doubleheader there. That'd be very good.
I gave the demand that you wanted to Lloyd on Brendan Fraser. He pulled up a picture, and his instant reaction. Nobody in the room has seen it. He was shocked. He was taken back.
Oh, is it up? Are y'all looking at it now?
No,
We're not looking at it just yet. He's pulling it up on the set for us right now.
Brendan Fraser.
God.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happened,
What
bro?
happened?
I know. I don't even remember. Like, we're talking about Harrison Ford. We're saying, he gets older, but Harrison Ford still looks, he looks like Harrison Ford when he was 30 if he was left out in the sun too long. But Brendan Fraser, it was like, what has he been?
He's unrecognizable.
What's he been doing for the last 15 years? Like, he disappeared and he came back and not cardio at all. I don't know. But hey, he has still got the acting chop. He's great in No Sudden Move. Yeah. He's very good. He's very good. And it's just strange. It's strange for everyone that remembers The Mummy, that remembers George of the Jungle.
Yes.
Yeah. To now see what's going on here. He's playing. He reminded me when he first showed up as the gangster sidekick in Looney Tunes. The giant like kind of oaf who's always like getting hit on the head.
Yes,
That's what
it does look like that.
I would not have expected it, but that's Brendan Fraser now. But hey, maybe he'll come back. Maybe this is the movie where he'll have to hit the gym for a Marvel movie or something.
I don't think it's possible.
Hollywood is usually not the town that allows you to do this. You know what I mean?
No.
Like they will shame you out of the place.
I thought you meant he had to gain some weight for a movie.
Me
I
too.
Didn't know it was
Me
like
too. I didn't know that he had let his life go.
Well, he's been prepping for this role for the last 5 years. It looks like
15.
That's
Jesus.
Right. Nate, have a great weekend, man. Stay dry up there, and it's great to catch up with you. 5 Minute Critic is all over the place. They're on Instagram. They are on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Nathan Velasquez is on Twitter. You catch him here every Friday on the Jordy Culotta Show. See you, buddy.
See y'all later.
All right, man. There is Nathan checking in from New York this morning as we go from one interview to our last of the week here. Great week here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Always appreciate the interaction. Thanks for stopping in, commenting, liking, sharing everything that we got going on. Make sure you're telling friends about what's happening here between 7 and 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, brought to you by Go Chevrolet. We appreciate that. Give me 45 seconds. Let me reset. I'll come back, and I'll have the best safety in the country, Jacoby Mathews, who's out of Ponchatoula, who is pledged to LSU, here to close out the week for us on the Jordy Culotta Show. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Hebert's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, closing out this week here, this holiday week. Hopefully everybody had a good, safe July 4th. Now back in the swing, heading into the weekend. Make sure you like, share, comment on everything that's happening here. We appreciate everybody's support. Go Chevrolet down in Laplace, Louisiana. Brings you and drives us home here on the Jordy Culotta Show. GEAUX Chevrolet.com. This recruiting class of 2022 has been talked about for a while, man. As a very special group. Seems like they got everything in this group. They got a quarterback, they got a left tackle, they got a big-time wide receiver with big personality. They've got players everywhere. But when you ask who's the best player in the class, all in all, like once it's all said and done, who's the top player? Is it Walker Howard? Is it Will Campbell? Is it Shaz Preston? Is it Quincy Wiggins down here in Baton Rouge, who has exploded up recruiting charts here this past season? Everybody's steadfast in saying it's Jacoby Mathews. The Ponchatoula safety, 5-star safety. Started playing quarterback for the Greenies when TJ Finley took off to go to Baton Rouge a couple of years back. Now Finley over at Auburn, and Mathews still calling the signals for Hank Tierney and Ponchatoula down there. But when you ask recruiters, when you ask college coaches, when you ask people that follow the sport, who's the top player in Louisiana in 2022? Everybody seems to say it's Jacoby Mathews. So it is our pleasure to welcome aboard the number one player in the state of Louisiana and an LSU commit, 5-star safety out of Ponchatoula, and is joining us now here on the Jordy Culotta Show. It is Jacoby Mathews. Good morning, man. Thank you for the time.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What has this recruiting process been like for you? I know you shut it down a couple of months back and committed to LSU, but it seems like every college in the country is knocking on your Ponchatoula door wanting you to be on campus. How has this recruiting gone for you? What has it been like from your point of view?
My recruitment's been pretty crazy. It's been out the roof these past couple of months. Schools from all over the country, coaches from all over the country, been taking calls, probably like 10 calls a day. And I felt like it was time to seal the deal with LSU. It was pretty much a no-brainer. And by the time I committed, it felt like it was a big burden on my chest. I knew that was the place for me. I knew that's where I wanted to be. And so now the recruitment kind of slacked off, and I like it better like this now.
So you're more comfortable in where you are, committed to LSU and just focused on playing now?
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
How's the offseason been for you going into your senior year? I know that last season you guys weren't able to take trips, you weren't able to take visits, you weren't really able to experience recruiting, but it was able to open up for you guys this summer. What was that experience like, finally getting to get on campus and shake hands with some of the coaches that were calling and texting you all day and night?
It was great. First place I went, made sure I got up there to LSU. I probably went like 2 weeks in a row, every day, back to back. I did a lot of good recruiting. Yesterday we got a commit in the 5-star linebacker.
Yeah.
I felt like he can help us out a lot down the long road. But being able to just get in front of guys face to face, all the other recruits, it made it easier for me to be able to recruit them, showing them one of the best facilities in the world. They all love it. The best coaching staff in the world, they all love it. So, I mean, I'm so confident in LSU. That's the only place I wanted to go. Recruiting-wise, I feel like we have a lot more to come. I feel like we got a lot of more commits coming out once the dead period lifts again. So we'll be looking forward to what comes in the fall.
How much have you actively been hitting the recruiting trail for LSU? Are you, like, when you meet with these guys, are you pushing LSU absolutely every time you talk to them, saying you're trying to build a special class in 2022?
Yes, every time I want to win, I want to just stack up the roster like that 2019 season, be able to bring home a natty to Louisiana again. I make sure, no matter how many kids it is, what position, I make sure I let them know LSU is the place for you. We wouldn't be recruiting you if we didn't want to. I feel like it's a no-brainer to come to LSU for everybody. I try to get as many guys as I can just to build a great class.
Who do you have your eye on? Who's the big fish out there you're trying to flip for LSU?
Right now, we're trying to seal a deal with Quincy Wiggins, Shaz Preston, and the running back out of Georgia, Demario Tolan.
Let's go.
Let's go. That'd be a 2019 class.
Jacoby Mathews, who is widely considered the top overall player in the state of Louisiana and a very talented group, is joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Mason Smith, not the freshman defensive tackle out of Terrebonne, who's going to make an impact here this season. The recruiting in the recruiting department, they added Mason Smith from Mississippi State. It seemed like as soon as that announcement was made, Jacoby, you made your announcement to come to LSU. We talked to Shaz Preston. We talked to Walker Howard. We've talked to Quincy Wiggins. We've talked to all the big boys. And everybody seems to bring up Mason Smith's name when talking about LSU recruiting. What has he meant to your recruitment? And did your pledge to LSU with him joining the staff have any correlation?
Mason Smith, he's a great recruiter. All of us know Mason from where he started off as in Mississippi State. He made a big push, and he always let us know every day, no matter where he went, no matter where we went, if we were committed, he was still going to make his biggest push on us. And when I tell you Mason Smith is one of the most best recruiters I ever came in contact with, he feel like there's no battle with him and recruiting the guy. He feel like he's going to get every guy he starts to recruit. And so that confidence just fired all of us up. And from then, we built a great bond with Mason. And now to see him at LSU, that was even better. And so we just know the right tools are getting put together to be a national championship team.
How much does it mean to you that a defensive coordinator now calling the signals for LSU is a former NFL guy in Dontre Jones is now the defensive coordinator and somebody who has a direct line to the NFL?
It's been way better. Going up there to be able to catch some of the practices. I've been seeing the environment of the DBs change, and the scheme they're using, I love it. I love the way I'll be using the scheme. Coach Durante, he's been around a whole bunch of vets, and so he knows what it takes to be at the next level. He's been the one to break down and analyze everybody at the combine, so he knows what it takes to be a top pick coming out the draft, a top DB. That's what LSU is known for producing, so I just feel nothing but confident going into LSU.
How do they plan on using you once you get here? It seems like your versatility is one of your biggest attributes. How do they plan on playing you when you get to Baton Rouge?
Yeah, sure, more of a down through safety,
Yeah.
sometimes in the box, sometimes at the nickel position, or even over the top.
What was your emphasis this offseason in improving your game? What did you want to improve on in between your junior and senior year?
More of just that leadership role. I want to be able to go into college after winning the state title. And without me being the best leader I can be, I know it's going to be hard for my team to reach that goal.
You look up to anybody? You try to model your game after anybody? I mean, I know that Jacoby Mathews is his own man, and it seems like you are a big-time player and everybody's after you, but do you watch anybody at the college or NFL level that you say, man, I'd like to steal a little bit of part of his game and put it into mine?
I watch a lot of players from all different types of positions just because the mentality I see a lot of people have. But I really like to model my game after Odell Beckham just because his aggression. I watch games where he had bad games or either he just facing adversity and the way he responds to it. How upset he gets himself when he knows he could have made a game-changing play. It just dropped me.
How do you view this class, Jacoby? How do you view the state of Louisiana right now? You have the reputation of being one of the best, if not the best, in a class that has, it seems like every position checked. Quarterback, left tackle, defensive end, wide receiver, running back. It seems like you guys have a 4 or 5 star at every spot. How do you view the state of Louisiana for your recruiting cycle?
I view this 22 class as complete. I mean, we have all the tools. We have everybody we need. And now it's just time to bring a few more in and seal the deal to have this number 1 recruiting class.
What's Hank Tierney meant to your development over at Ponchatoula?
Coach Hank, he means a lot. He's a great man. He helped me with a lot. He's been tough on me since a freshman. I came in starting, and he treated me like a senior. He treated me like I knew everything already, and that just brought me a long way. That helped me with my leadership and where I am right now in my game.
Vernell Thibodeau, Jamel Pierce are all listening inside of our chat app right now, talking about how they are proud of you and how they're loving hearing you on this platform. What's your community of Ponchatoula mean to you? What is the state of Louisiana and specifically that little area of Ponchatoula mean to Jacoby Mathews?
It means a lot. I'll never forget where I come from. This city is full of love. The state's full of love, and there's no place like home. So I just want to be able to put it on for everybody.
Bro, you crushed this morning. This was fantastic. I appreciate you joining us. I know that. How do you like this part of it? Do you like the media part of it, or are you just kind of a grinder?
Yes, I mean, I just go with the flow. I like it. I love being able to interact with a lot of people. So,
how much do you pay? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was done.
Are you paying attention to name, image, and likeness? Are you paying attention to some of these athletes that are starting to make money off of their own names? Are you getting educated on that so when you get to campus you'll be able to take advantage of that?
I've been tuning into it. I haven't had anybody to educate me on it a lot, but I've been tuned into it a lot. A lot of people have hit me up thinking I was a college player already, but I'm not.
I bet.
Yeah, but I've been starting getting together with guys to get information on get the full detail on everything and know what I can do when I get there and what's best for me.
What are your expectations for your senior season?
Really nothing less than winning the state title.
Go get them, bro. You sound like a hell of a leader.
Sir.
It sounds like I've seen the film. You're a hell of a football player, but talking to you for the first time, you seem like a hell of a leader. I know everybody at LSU is very fired up to have you in purple and gold and all the fan base Can't wait to watch you play on Saturdays. Go dominate Fridays. What number are you going to be?
Odell
Number
following
2.
3.
Number 2. Oh, I love a safety in 2. All right, bro. Have a great summer. Have a great rest of the summer. We'll be in touch, man. Best of luck in your senior season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it, man. There is Jacoby Mathews, 5-star safety out of Ponchatoula. Great kid.
Is a great kid.
And
College ready.
Everybody that I talk to around LSU says his best attribute is his leadership. It sounded like it there. Turn on the film. I mean, if his best quality is leadership, look how good of a football player he is. Because I'm telling you, man, you think about what LSU, or excuse me, the state of Louisiana is producing this season in a recruiting cycle, and it doesn't necessarily happen like this all the time. Louisiana always has players, right? They've always got players. Every coach around the country is going to recruit Louisiana just because of the hidden gems in this state that you can find. But it's the headliners this year. It's the quarterback, Walker Howard. It's the defensive end, Quincy Wiggins. It's the wide receiver, Shaz Preston. But everybody always goes back to Jacoby Mathews. And to me, that says a ton, because this class is just dripping with talent. I mean, Walker Howard was just named a top 3 quarterback in the country. Quincy Wiggins has every college coach in America beating down his door. Shaz Preston could throw a dart with a blindfold on at a map, and wherever it landed, he could go to college there.
Unknown caller.
But Jacoby Mathews is widely considered to be the best of the group, and he's a leader. He sounds like he's all LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
No-brainer.
he's not going anywhere else. And he's recruiting for the class. I mean, his names that he rattled off were Quincy Wiggins, Shaz Preston, and a running back out of Georgia. I mean, you get those 3 cats into this group, and I think you're staring directly at a 1, 2, 3 class in America, and you put those teams in a hat. If it's Ohio State, LSU, and Alabama as the top 3 classes, put those names in a hat. Whichever one you grab, you're gonna be okay with. So LSU's doing work, man. I appreciate, and we keep bringing up Mason Smith. That's the second time. Shaz Preston, we brought up his name with Shaz Preston a couple of weeks back, and Shaz's brother Sean Preston plays at Mississippi State, and very influential in that recruiting was Mason Smith while he was at Mississippi State, and now here at LSU. If you go back and look at the date that Mason Smith was hired and the date that Jacoby Mathews pledged his commitment, it's within like a 48-hour window. It may even be 24 hours when Smith gets the job to when Mathews pledges to LSU. And you heard what Shaz Preston said about Mason Smith a couple of weeks back, and then you just heard Jacoby Mathews say he's the best recruiter he's ever met.
It was just in April, right, when he came here?
It's very recent. Mm-hmm. Very recent. So Mason Smith is one of those guys behind the scenes that we don't talk about all the time that is doing work for the LSU recruiting staff. I mean, building roads, building relationships, building inroads to people that are decision makers. As Coach Ogeron calls him in recruiting, the champion, the one who is responsible for most of the decision-making process. Mason Smith has done a tremendous job in building those relationships very fast. So very thankful to Mason for helping us out and set up that interview. Very thankful to Jacoby Mathews for coming on here and spending a couple of time with us. And then Lawrence Mathews, who is Jacoby's dad, very much helped us out with that. Talking to Lawrence over the past couple of days, you can hear the excitement in his voice, how proud he is of his kid to be able to experience this part of his this recruiting process. It's got to be very cool for a dad to sit back and watch his son go through it and then handle it like that. You know what I mean? Understand that, look, man, you could take advantage of this thing and you could fly all over the country for the next couple of months. And who's to say that they won't? I would do that, and I hope that they do that, because you'll never have that opportunity again to go visit schools and do it on somebody else's dime. But that's another thing that stands out about this group. Every one of them that we talk to is
all LSU.
All LSU, but they're leaders. They got good heads on their shoulders.
Really are.
They're very well thought out before they speak. It's not like they just come on and want to talk about who they are, what they do, what they've accomplished. I mean, every single one of them whether it's been Will Campbell or whether it's been Walker Howard or whether it's been Jacoby Mathews or whether it's been Shaz Preston or anybody who has come on with this 2022 group, has been very impressive from just the way they handle themselves. And I don't mean to blow that out of proportion and sound like I'm surprised when kids at that age are able to, to be able to think and speak at the same time just because of what they have going on in their life. But this group, all in all, feels very mature in going through this process and handling a lot of attention. So it'll be interesting, man. Chili Vic says Alabama's pushing hard in Louisiana this year. Saban making it personal. That's every year, Chili. I mean, really. I mean, Saban's formula in recruiting is go annoy LSU. Pinpoint 2 or 3 guys that are on their board and just work those guys.
Make them fight like hell.
This year it seems like it's Le'Veon Moss at Estruma, who Alabama's already got a commitment from. They are on the doorstep of Quincy Wiggins every single day. If you watch Quincy Wiggins on social media, you see how much Alabama is pushing him. Shaz Preston just got back from Tuscaloosa. I'd imagine that they are all up in Jacoby Mathews' DMs. So that's every single year. But it seems like this group, especially at the top, the Walker Howards, the Jacoby Mathews, the Will Campbells, the guys at the top of the list are all LSU, and they're pushing LSU to the rest of the group. So thank you to everybody who helped us put together that interview. And thank you more to Jacoby Mathews for finding the time and stopping by. Thanks to everybody this morning. Kendall Rogers was great in his information. Make sure and check that out if you're looking for a little bit on LSU baseball, as Jason Kelly was introduced or will be introduced as the pitching coach. Dan Fitzgerald was brought over from Dallas Baptist. Kendall Rogers had some really good things to say about both those guys, and then dove into a little bit of how the roster is going to be managed here under the direction of Jay Johnson. So appreciate him. Nathan Velasquez was great as always, talking about his Hollywood tidbits. And then Jacoby Mathews closing us out, talking a little recruiting. Have a great weekend. We're back with you at 7 a.m. on Monday morning. Speaking of recruiting, Josh Pate, who handles the 247 recruiting, and he has that late night recruiting on YouTube, which is fantastic information about SEC and about the SEC and about what's going on. Will join us Monday morning. So we will talk more recruiting with him on Monday morning. I'm heading over to Summit, Mississippi this weekend, going to drop little Jay off.
I was like, what are you doing?
At his first overnight camp. Going to be gone for a week as little Jay's headed to formerly, which was Dixie basketball camp, now is called String Music basketball camp, to honor the late, great Joe Dean, who started the camp so many years ago. But little Jay making his first trip to Summit, Mississippi to Dixie basketball camp. Seems excited.
What's your read on it?
There's an underlying tone of nervousness, but I feel like when we show up on Sunday, he is going to see pretty much the town of Baton Rouge. Like everybody I've spoke to, whether it's on his former football team or at his school or in or around athletics of his age, is going to be there. So I think he's really going to probably look up at Wednesday or Thursday before he's even homesick. Now, he might, when you lay down at night and you're by yourself and you're not at home, and you don't have your stuff, you might be a little freaked out. But when you're doing it surrounded by your boys and you're surrounded by your crew, and, odds are they're going to be burping and farting until they go to bed all night and making each other laugh. You know what I mean? You wake up and you play basketball all day. You lay down, you go to sleep, you wake up and do it again. By the time Wednesday or Thursday gets here, I'd imagine he'd be like, yo, I'm ready to go home. Or he couldn't be. He might not be. So, yes, I definitely have a little parental anxiety going into the weekend, but more, I'm very excited for him. I think it's going to be a great – I think on the way back next weekend, he's going to be like, sign me up for next season. Make sure I don't miss a year.
What's the sleeping situation? Do they have like a TV or
like a college one? Here's the deal: you can bring anything you want. He can bring his cell phone. He can bring his PlayStation. He can bring a television. He can bring a refrigerator.
So he can talk to you.
He can talk.
Well, that'll make a huge difference.
I agree. He'll be able to communicate.
But
you'll be able to communicate. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I'm saying, is there a
'cause, like,
caveat to being able to bring all these things?
Sophie couldn't.
She can't. I mean,
Right.
we just can write.
Exactly.
It's like an email scan thing.
So I mean, almost even if she is homesick, you can't.
Yeah.
You won't even know it to go
I
get her.
know.
You know what I mean? Like
I
this will
know.
be an instant like
well, she
FaceTime
can
or
write me and say that,
text
but they
message.
read
But it would
the
be
letters.
2 or 3 days, right,
Yeah.
before you got it.
Well, no, it's an email system.
Okay.
So I get it the next day, but
Okay.
they read everything. And if somebody writes in there, like, I hate it here, I mean, they're calling you in, like, let's talk about this.
Right. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how this goes. But I mean, basketball.
Yeah, he'll
his
be
boys.
good. He's got friends.
I mean, like
got the phone,
You
you're
got the
fine,
phone.
you got
I'm
the comfort
sure.
thing.
Yeah, everybody's
Yeah.
gonna be fine here, man. I think it's gonna be a
Do they
great
have like a
experience for
bedtime
him.
or anything like that? Like lights out, 10
No.
p.m.?
No, it's a
so
free for all.
Really?
I
It's a
love
free for
that.
all.
But you got to make your bed.
Right. You got to make your bed.
There's one rule.
And you got to love sweat.
Does he have
That's
like
what
a
they tell you.
counselor staying in the room with him?
Not
or
in the
just-
room.
Okay.
Not in the
so
room.
like on the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from the way that I understand it from parents that have been there
Gonna
before and
love
have
it.
had those kids
Yeah.
before, like it's a free for all.
That's funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is a little concern because he's the youngest group.
Yeah.
Right. Like I mean, at this point, he's the rookies. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
they're the freshmen. So. You know, I do have a
Dipping
little
some
anxiety.
shit that first day. You might make somebody look
Man.
bad.
Right.
Dixie
Get a
we'll
knock
see.
on the door.
We'll see. Have a great weekend. Hopefully everybody out there enjoys their weekend. What y'all's weekend plans? What you got, Lloyd? You
Got a cousin coming in from Colorado. So we're gonna hang out, cook for him tonight.
little foggy?
Yeah, a little foggy.
Foggy?
4:20 Mountain Time.
That's right.
So excited about that.
Little midsummer celebration.
Dinner will be delicious no matter what it is.
That's right. How about you, Katie? You getting healthy this weekend or what?
Sophie's flying in today from camp
Nice.
this afternoon, so I'll probably just be attached to her the entire weekend.
Beautiful.
I'll probably sleep with her in her bed.
Look for
She can't wait.
a new website launching here for the Jordy Culotta Show. We're going to try to finalize a lot of the nuts and bolts for our guy Randall Knockman over at Nevada's that has done just. We had a walkthrough yesterday on the new site, and it is cool. It's interactive. It's visually appeasing. It's great. It's informative. And Nevada's has done a great job. If Nevada's can help you, and odds are they can, in rebuilding your website or creating a mobile app for you, get in touch with Knockman and his crew, man, over at Nevada's. They are a local company here in Baton Rouge that has helped us out with our website, and I cannot wait to show it to everybody out there. I can't wait to show it to y'all, man. It's easy to interact with, and it's a fantastic site. Nevada's has done great work. So have a great weekend. For all of our supporters, Go Chevrolet drives us every day. We will be back with you at 7 o'clock on Monday morning.